just because Republicans are busy with debates, and in fact, no sooner was last night's done than they were talking about next month's debate on Fox Business. Fact of the matter is, Democrats are not nearly so busy arranging such events. Robert F. Kennedy Jr. joins us right now. He is a presidential candidate challenging the President of the United States. Robert, it's always good to have you. It doesn't look, and especially when we were hearing from Cedric Richmond, the Biden-Harris campaign chief, that a debate is in the offing for you or the Democratic Party. What do you think?
Well, we're going to keep asking for a debate. I don't know whether we're going to get one. I think it's, there's so many people. We're living in an era now, Neil, where there's so many people who have lost faith in democracy. They think the system is rigged, that the economic system is rigged, that the political system is rigged. And I think it's really important that we have elections in both political parties that look like real democracy, where there's retail politics, where the politicians have to actually go out and meet the American public, where they have to debate opponents, where we are distinguishing ourselves from the old Soviet Union, where the party would choose, the party pangerums and commissars would choose the candidates, and there was just kind of this kabuki theater of democracy rather than real retail politics. And, particularly I think it's important today because ever since the Citizens United case, politics in this country has been driven by money. So the Democratic Party already has $2 billion in its coffers. But to raise that money, it means that President Biden and high DNC officials have to spend hours every day on the phone with political donors. And they really don't have time to see what's happening on the ground in this country, where there's a level of desperation and despair like I've never seen before. And I think it's really important that very quickly our political leaders get in touch with that and understand the urgency. Last night I watched a debate, the Republican debate, and it was really surreal for me because it seemed so tone deaf. It seemed like they were throwing around kind of cliches from the Reagan era. And I'm looking at people who are sitting at their kitchen table wondering about how they're going to pay their medical bills, wondering about how they're going to, they're going to get the kids out of the house because nobody can afford a house anymore, how they're going to pay for food, how they're going to pay for fuel. And none of those issues was discussed. Nobody was offering policies of, here's what I'm going to do to help the declining middle class in this country.
But do you feel, Robert, that part of it is that you're kind of a problem in that environment, not you individually, but that you're kind of like a man without a political island here, that you have many in your own party, many in your own family who are aghast at you running for president and challenging an incumbent Democratic president. And you seem to be greeted favorably with many on the right. You've appeared on a Joe Rogan podcast. You have said you like a lot of what you've heard out of Vivek Ramaswamy. Ron DeSantis has in the past suggested you as an ideal FTA head. That there does seem to be more interest and respect for you on the Republican side than the Democratic side. What do you think?
Well, I think if you look at the issues that I stand for and you compare them to, for example, the issues that my father, Robert Kennedy, my uncle, John F. Kennedy, stood for, you could go down the line and check every single one of them off. I'm a traditional Kennedy Democrat, a traditional liberal, anti-war, skeptical of the military-industrial complex. I want our economic policies to respond to the working poor, the working class in this country, rather than to the needs of Wall Street. I want press freedom, freedom of speech in this country, all the things that the environment, a clean environment, and women's right to bodily autonomy, all the issues that are traditional liberal issues are issues that I, believe in, that I'm fighting for. And incidentally, Neil, I'm getting huge response. I mean, last night I was in Richmond And with a rally that we scheduled 24 hours before, and we were sold out, almost 500 people almost instantly. I'm getting the same response everywhere I go. My polling numbers are now within shooting distance in the key early primary states of President Biden. So I'm doing well with Democrats, Republicans, and independents, and that's what I set out to do, to try to find that.
Well, no, you're quite right, and we lose sight of that, Robert, that it is a state-by-state battle. As Chris Christie was saying in another segment here, that is what matters, because we don't have a national primary. We have a series of states, of course, caucuses, and then the primaries. But having said all of that, there are people like Robert Reich, of course, who was a former Treasury Secretary under Bill Clinton, or Labor Secretary, I apologize, who is worried about your emergence. He said that your candidacy saddens him, that he, referring to you, said he could have done something meaningful with his life and his name. Earlier on, he showed such promise as a staunch environmentalist. Goes on to say that the candidacy that's emerged has disappointed him. And it gets back to what we were saying, or I was trying to bring up, not so eloquently, Robert, that you're this man lost between two parties. Would you ever consider a run as a third-party candidate?
No, I'm a Democrat. I'm a traditional Democrat, and part of my mission here is to summons the Democratic Party back to its traditional ideals. And I'm not surprised that the people who are aligned with the DNC, people who are closely aligned with the White House, are troubled by my candidacy. I'm a threat to President Biden. And, I would love to debate Robert Reich about what he thinks the problem is with me or any other Democrat. I think the reaction to me is oftentimes those who have negative reactions to me are oftentimes reacting to secondhand characterizations of my positions that they're hearing from MSNBC and CNN that are simply not accurate.
Yeah.
When people talk to me in person and hear my ideas and the reasons I'm running, I have a very, very high conversion rate. And I think most people are surprised to find out that that my positions are pretty much common sense.
And they are resonating with a lot of people, and a lot of people are imitating you, and you do pack these venues, to be fair, Robert. I do know that some are trying to even copy you when it comes to even little things, like maybe physical workouts. I noticed Vivek Ramaswamy has his own workout video, a shirtless tennis scene, and I'm thinking of you with the weightlifting thing, and I'm wondering what you started here.
Well, I don't know. I haven't seen Vivek without his shirt on, but
well, this is him working out with his wife. He's obviously big in working out. I know you are as well. We're kindred souls there, Robbie. I'm a workout machine myself, but enough about me. What do you make of this direction? Because you've started something, and I don't know who's next or what's next, but this is important to a lot of folks. Maybe a response to having older guys leading each ticket for the time being.
Well, my uncle, John Kennedy, when he became president, he launched the President's Council on Physical Fitness because he believed it was important for Americans to be in shape. And today we have the highest chronic disease burden on Earth. We have 64% of Americans now suffer from chronic disease, and that's one of the reasons we had the highest death rate from COVID in the world. We have only 4.2% of the global population, but we had 16% of the COVID deaths in this country. Why was that? Well, one reason is bad management, but the other reason is we have the highest chronic disease burden in the world, and the CDC itself has acknowledged that the average person who died from COVID in the United States had 3.8 chronic diseases. So they had obesity, they had diabetes, they had asthma, and others. Right. And so if we really care about public health in this country and about stopping the deaths from chronic disease, we need to start caring for ourselves. And I think it's good for our political leadership, whether it's Vivek or whoever. Yeah. To try to inspire the American public to get back in shape.
Well, if you could just inspire us with something that wasn't so strenuous, like miniature golf, that came to my mind. But Robert, it's great seeing you again. Best of luck.
Yeah, thank you very much, Neil.
Robert F. Kennedy, Jr.